Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Ethan's Day Off podcast with Ethan Harrer. This is episode 4 here. I'm with Sebastian. We have a couple snacks here on the table. I just want to mention this first. Seb, what do these snacks here that you have in front of you say about you? He has green grapes. He has a thing of Jolly Time popcorn that isn't in a bowl or anything. It's just in the bag. And then an open bag, family size, almost of chili cheese Fritos. What do these say about you and your personality before we introduce you?
I'm guess a guy. I guess you could say I'm a guy that likes to go all in. You know,
go all in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my snacks kind of describe that. I don't put any of this in a bowl because once I start, I intend to go all in.
Mm-hmm. Everything goes black, and you just complete everything that you aspire to finish.
I guess so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Seb, aside from your snack habits, who are you?
Man, it's a tough question. I feel that at the moment I can't really pinpoint or say who I am exactly because I feel like I'm constantly discovering who I am.
Mm-hmm.
So the person I am today could differ very much from who I am tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
So I always like to take it step by step. But yeah,
very nice. You know, my intrusive thoughts want me to tell you that sounded like a Chat GBT answer, man, because it was nuanced and it was very understandable. It was a very truthful yet unsatisfying answer.
I am definitely an AI. So before we continue on, I have to say that on the record.
As an artificial intelligence
Yes.
platform, I may not give the most human of answers. I may give nuanced discussions.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, fair enough. But I would probably say something along the same lines of just like self-discovery. We do have an audience, by the way. We have a couple people in the background. They're all waving. Oh, make some noise, guys. You're all good.
Hi.
Yeah. We also got text from the last episode here. He's chilling, watching King of the Hill, enjoying himself. We had some pizza and taquitos together. It was a great time. Finished work today and yeah, sold t-shirts and kicked ass. So yeah. But Seb, what brings you here to Juneau, Alaska? The time of this recording, we're in Juneau, Alaska. What brings you here?
Well, not to beat a dead horse, but it was time to lock in.
It was time to lock in?
It was time to lock in.
Well, like, who brought you here?
Oh, okay. So my good friend Quincy,
Mm-hmm.
she invited me out here. If it weren't for her, I definitely wouldn't have found out about this. I tell a lot of people I don't really consider myself like a seasonal worker per se, but I'm definitely, like I said, I'm a person that goes all in. So I discovered this, and I was like, shoot, I need to move forward. I need to make some changes.
Mm-hmm.
So I decided, let me make this jump. It's a big leap of faith. I don't know 100% what it's going to be like, but we come out here and start doing things differently.
Yeah. We've had a couple people that have come from Maine, New Jersey, Vermont, Texas, have all these different stories of where they were stepping back or they were moving forward. When you say that you came here to kind of change the trajectory of your life, where was that originally from? What were you doing before this?
Before this, I was working actually at a grocery store. And I was very much in a position where I was trying to figure out what I wanted to prioritize in life. So, what my big goals are, where I see myself in the future.
Mm-hmm.
But I felt like the place that I was in, it was just stagnant. I don't want to go like too deep in it because it could spiral. But
yeah,
I was in a place that things felt very stagnant. I was making, checking off little ticks on my to-do list or whatever, but felt like, okay, the things that I want to accomplish, I need to start actually, kind of expediting the process, I guess you could say.
Mm-hmm.
And when this came up, that was the mindset behind it.
Okay. You were in Texas before this?
I was actually in California before
California,
this.
that's right. Okay. Cool. What part of California, if you don't mind me asking?
So Riverside County, I was in Hemet. So they call it the entire area. It's like the outskirts of Riverside. I believe it's called the think it's the Inland Empire, if I'm not mistaken. If I got that wrong, I feel so ignorant. But
we got a lot of Californians that are getting pissed off.
Yeah, probably right now.
Yeah.
To be fair, I was there for 6 months, so.
Okay. And then before that, you were in Hawaii?
I was in Hawaii, yeah, for 12 years. I was in California again at one point for like another few months, but basically for 12 years I was in Hawaii.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're in Alaska now. It's very touristy here. And the same thing for Hawaii. It's a very big tourist spot. What are the differences and the similarities between here and there? Do you find similarities between here and there?
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, just like, for example, you have like preconceived notions of what a place is, right? So, for example, before I moved to Hawaii, a lot of people, even myself, to be honest, like we would think, oh, people live in tiki huts, or you have a certain idea of what a place is like. You get there and you're
they eat like pineapple on pizza.
I don't want
all festive. They have ukuleles.
What a wild world. But anyways, you get down there and you realize, everything's kind of the same. Everyone's just simple. There's definitely cultural differences, but for the most part, everyone's just a human being just moving along through the world that we're in. And coming out here was kind of a very similar thing. As quiet and small as it is, I definitely see a lot of similarities.
What were your preconceived notions of Alaska?
Oh, it's freezing cold all the time. I mean, that's pretty accurate. It's pretty cold, but it's not something that's, I wouldn't say it's like a negative. It's just like a new environment. You play Minecraft, you go into a new biome all the time, and you're like, oh, this is what this is like now. Yeah, that's kind of what being out here is like.
That's a crazy metaphor, man.
Yeah.
But I 100% understand you.
You know what I mean?
You don't know whether or not you're going into the nether or just a different jungle biome. Okay, I get that. Yeah, I mean, I had the same thing too here. Like, a lot of people in my friend group when I was coming out here were saying, and this is in their words, not mine, but a couple of them were like, hey, are you going to get, some Eskimo women around you? One of my friends, my best friends, which is Unhinged, he said, you're going to get some Eskimo hoes, and that links to like being cold all the time is, people that are fishing and have really thick, like, not parkas, but like really thick hoodies and just walking around all the time. And it's just not like that at all. And the same thing with Hawaii. If I went to Hawaii, it would just be like everybody chilling out and a lot of like really like fat tourists walking around probably on every island, as it is like here in a tourist spot. So
definitely.
Yeah. You're big into guitar.
Oh yeah.
You practice it. You try to practice it every day, from what you told me. Even if it's at 11 p.m. and you ask me, hey, can I practice some guitar down here real quick in our little space? And I'm like, oh no, I'm trying to go to sleep. I'm going to bed. I'm going to work at 9 a.m. tomorrow, 8 a.m. tomorrow. When do you start getting into that?
When did I start getting into that?
Yeah. What's the story behind your musical awakening?
So, I've always loved music from a young age. I remember playing the violin like in 5th grade for a little bit. In middle school, I wasn't able to play the violin. The orchestra was full. So I remember playing trumpet in the concert band. And I started playing like jazz band and all that sort of stuff. So I've always had like a deep connection to music. But I remember I stopped, every instrument I picked up, I kind of stopped. But when I picked up the guitar, it was all I had to do. I remember that summer that I picked it up, which was like in 8th grade. I had gotten grounded from video games. So there was nothing to do. My life was over.
Your life was over?
My life was over.
What was how do you get in trouble for playing? How do you get in trouble? What grounded you?
Almost failing middle school.
You almost failed middle school?
I almost failed on middle school. I think the only reason I passed, to be honest, I don't know how accurate this is, but there was a rumor that they had to pass everyone just because of the sheer amount of people that were moving up in grades. So it was a full school, so they had to pass everybody. So I remember my mom was like, hell no. You were banished from video games until you can get your shit together.
What type of video games are we talking?
Oh man, I was playing a lot of Final Fantasy 15 back then.
Oh, okay, so it was better that it went that way.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy?
Yeah.
Good lord.
Hey man, I gotta say I love the Final Fantasy games.
Yeah, we need to do talking to women, man. That's Final Fantasy is.
That's deep. That's
Yeah.
And looking back at it, that was definitely I was down bad at that time. That I had no, I don't know, no riz.
No riz?
You could say, yeah.
No charisma?
Yeah, the Final Fantasy absorbed all of it. Any semblance of that. But yeah, no. Well, my mom did me a favor. Luckily, that summer I just spent time grinding the guitar, and yeah, the rest I just been playing ever since. I can't stop. It's not something that's in my plans. Even as I grow older, my mindset with it changes, but it's always like refreshing because it's like starting over, kind of with a foundation that I've already built.
Yeah,
So it's definitely something that keeps me grounded in life as well. Like, no matter where I'm at, I always know I have something to work on. I can see, I like to record myself and see how far I've progressed. So.
Yeah, there's a channel that Seb has that I found through my blogs and stuff like that. He commented, and he has a lot of covers. It's a big part. It's kind of a big part of your identity. Once you started getting into the guitar, like were you big into music before you started practicing the guitar, or was it the other way around where you got into the culture?
Well, no, I've always been real big into music. Guitar opened my mind to other genres of music that I wasn't at all interested in beforehand. But I remember, like, 5th grade, my favorite band was Nirvana. And I remember that's kind of what made me get really into music. Was like, there was this feeling that I got from listening to a band like Nirvana, which I don't know. People might say they're overrated or whatever, but I still stand by, and there's just an amazing band.
How would you describe it?
It's hard because it's a feeling you get. So I've noticed, I've tried to talk to certain people about like music and what I listen to, and there's this feeling I get that I'm like, I wish other people could see this, because they can't really explain it. I could just feel it, So a band like Nirvana, for me at that time, there was a certain feeling I got that, yeah.
No, I get you. I get you. I got a brother that's big into Nirvana as well, and I think that's one of the emotions that he gave me, just on how it sounded. It's like some music makes you like want to go outside and just go and kind of be rebellious. Like I would describe that as Nirvana's music. Like, screw the system that we have laid upon, like, foundation. Like Marilyn Manson, for example. That was one of his biggest things, is that a lot of the people that listened to his music were preteens, were people in the early 20s. And it gave just that foundation of rebellion against just the, I guess the, I don't want to say parental foundations, because that sounds too complicated, but just like, screw mom, for not wanting me to go out to that concert and stuff like that. So I think that's the biggest way I can kind of describe it, especially when In Utero came out, and a lot of the songs, such as Rape Me, for example, were big on the radio. And I was like, what the hell is Nirvana doing to my kid? And stuff like, even their earlier stuff, I mean, still did the same thing, but just makes people uncomfortable.
Definitely.
I think that's the best way to describe Nirvana. Is there any other way that you would put it? No,
I think they definitely were trying to challenge the norm in every way possible. Especially at that time, like you said, like, people thought the influence that they had was negative, detrimental, you could say. So, yeah, I don't know what attracted me particularly so much about a band like that, as like at such a young age. But like I said, there was just a feeling, and I could feel. I knew what he was trying to say with the whatever melodies, or just like the energy. I felt it, yeah.
Is there any other music or bands or culture or anything that really changed the trajectory of your life, that way that you looked out? upon it, especially when you were like growing up in high school?
Mm-hmm.
Like what were the things that you were big into before you started getting into guitar?
Into guitar, I remember really liking Radiohead as well. So in addition to Final Fantasy, I now have Radiohead in my in my pocketbook. So
Oh boy.
I was definitely shaping up to be quite the incel.
What type of album are we talking of Radiohead?
So I grew up in Rainbows. I remember. I think
Okay.
that came out when I was very young, like three or four. I think. But I remember my mom used to listen to that so much. Like she definitely influenced me a lot. But I remember like that's kind of the sound of my childhood is in Rainbows.
Okay.
From such a young age, like I remember we'd go on road trips. There was this one time we went on a road trip all through Mexico, actually, cross country Mexico, and my mom would be playing like In Rainbows, The Smiths, just like all these different artists that I didn't quite get it at the time, but growing up I'm like, oh, I appreciate it in a different way. So yeah, but definitely a lot of grunge and alternative music.
The only album I've listened to of Radiohead is The King of Limbs, which was described to me as people on the internet as like the worst album from Radiohead, but it's incredible. Both the original and the live version that they did in the basement back in 2012 was insane. I haven't listened to any other Radiohead stuff, but I have been told that In Rainbows is the next one I should do, just because of how in the same vein or in the same emotion that the King of Limbs has. So I have yet to do that, but I plan to.
I really recommend. Funnily enough, I've never actually listened to King of Limbs all the way through. I only remember Lotus Flower from that album, but I listened to most of their discography. But that's funny, yeah, one of the albums so we'll definitely have to check out each other's recommendations.
Absolutely. What do you fear?
Okay, then that's a good one. But I think out of all things I fear the most, especially at this point in life, is looking back and like living with regret. Living with regret of, oh, I didn't do this, or I didn't go as hard as I should have with this. That's definitely, I think, my biggest fear at this point. I wanna look back and be fulfilled and look back fondly, even maybe get a bit sad, but just like, I don't know, I want to have strong emotions when I look back at my life and not just be like, man, what the hell did I do for 60 years? Yeah.
But I guess that's regret in a sense, because you're looking back at the past. What is it that you fear? What does Sebastian fear? And this is taking a weird turn, but this is one of the questions that I wrote down just to prepare for some of these podcasts. I did it for most of these things that we've talked about thus far, but one of the things that I wrote down is, what do you fear? Just a very straightforward question that is not comfortable, but I felt that it was necessary to bring that. So what do you fear for the future? What are the things that you're concerned about?
Not achieving my goals. Definitely, yeah. That would definitely be my biggest fear. I'd say, like, in the future, is not being able to achieve my goals.
What are your goals?
I don't know. I don't really like to speak on them too much because they sound so out there and like, I don't know, unrealistic that's a word I try to separate from like something like my goals. But I'd love to tour in a band. I'd love to tour in a band.
Okay.
Make music that I'm passionate about. Like I mentioned, that energy I felt from listening to a band like Nirvana or Radiohead, being able to, I don't know, give that same feeling to someone else. I would love to do that with a group of people and kind of each put our own ideas, and that's what I love about music, is the collaboration. So I definitely love to be in a band and be able to tour, kind of do what I'm doing here. I came to Alaska. I wanted to see what actually truly experience Alaska, see a new part of the world. I'd love to do that, but also play music at the same time.
Did you feel a fear when you came to Alaska?
Definitely, yeah.
How would you describe that? Because you were in California at the time, in a grocery store working there, and you wanted a jolt of something different. But you would be at the corner of America, where 30,000 people live in a landlocked city. I mean, what was going through your head at that time when you were taking that plunge because you saw some of your friends doing this?
If I'm being honest, I was not thinking about it at all. Like, I definitely, deep down, I know I felt some sort of anxiety. There was definitely anxiety, but I definitely, like, I tried not to think about it. I researched as little as possible, which, you know, I don't know. I don't know how people think about that, if that's good or bad, but I just wanted to see what it was.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to have, like, ideas fed to me, oh, this is why you shouldn't go here, this is why you should go here. I just wanted to see for myself. So
you did you did little research.
I did very little research. Yeah, I I wanted to see where I was going to work, what the situation was going to be like. But other than that, it was just I just came out here.
So you didn't know that Juneau was landlocked?
I did not.
You didn't know that?
No.
So you didn't know that you couldn't travel out and like go to Skagway without having to take a ferry? You didn't know anything like that?
No, nothing like that. No. Until
wow.
I got out here. Yeah. But to me, like that's what I mean. So
you knew the place you were working at,
mm-hmm.
the rate of pay,
mm-hmm.
and that there was a house
mm-hmm.
and a bed waiting for you.
That's exactly it. That's all I knew. That's all I cared to know. And I was just like, yeah, that makes sense. It being landlocked, being so far, I mean, if some shit were to go down, well, what am I going to do,
Yeah.
Then we'll get to that if we get there. But,
yeah, if World War III happens, we'll get to it.
We'll get to that, If it'll happen, what am I going to do? But, yeah, I didn't really think about it too much.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. So just limited information, just
mm-hmm.
kind of not wanting to overthink it and
mm-hmm.
just say, screw it, let's do it, because I need something.
Mm-hmm.
I need something, like a different wavelength, even if it isn't the right fit.
Mm-hmm.
I need something.
Exactly.
That's how you would describe it?
That's exactly how I would describe it. It took me 2 days to decide to come out here. 2 days to think about it, sleep on it, put in my 2 weeks, and then plan.
Mm-hmm. And then was there any, like, light bulb moment, or was it just, this feels good, I'm going to do it?
The latter right there. It just felt good. It felt right. I didn't see really any other option. I mean, there's definitely so many other options. There's always so many options. There's never just one route.
But you wanted something different.
Yeah, for sure.
You didn't want to go to another job that was just local.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't know. It's weird, too, because I had been excited to move to California. I was happy to be there. But I don't know. I think mismatched expectations definitely contributed to that. So coming out here, I wanted to do the opposite. Not really set an expectation, just go and see what it's like. And
so then it would surpass those expectations, those little expectations you had?
Exactly.
Okay. Very good. So you had that problem when you went from Hawaii to California. What was California, like your preconceived notions of California as a Hawaiian?
I guess so. Coming back to that whole music thing, I definitely saw moving from Hawaii to the mainland, as it's called, and back over there. I saw moving to the mainland as like, okay, it's an opportunity to network farther and reach more of an area. But getting California, I don't know, things weren't moving as quickly as I would have liked. And even certain plans that I set weren't really coming to fruition. So I was realizing all these ideas I had were going nowhere. And
was it like being part of a band?
Yeah, being part of a band, meeting certain people. I just didn't see people that I really, saw eye to eye with. So coming out here, I was kind of, just brainstorming. What do I need now? What's the next step? And actually coming out here has given me a lot of clarity and some new opportunities that I hadn't really thought of as deeply. Some things that I kind of ruled out, I kind of brought back into play, and I'm realizing that, oh shit, these things are a lot more feasible now that I made this decision to come out here.
Just with how clear you were thinking about it.
Exactly.
Because you were in the heat of the moment in California, I presume, just thinking, oh, I got to do this, and then your priorities were set elsewhere, and you felt like you were going anywhere.
Exactly. Yeah.
My friend, we have two very similar paths in getting here to Alaska, because I had the same, I don't want to say the same exact thing, but I was in my mom's basement playing video games, wanting to make a viral rap so then I could make money and show people that I could do it. And then it came to a point where my parents had sat me down and said, look, you got to stop lollygagging. I was with my dad at the time in Florida. I mentioned this in one of my blogs, but it's like, you gotta work, so then when you're in your 20s you're making money, so you have more options in your 30s. And when it was put the way that it was, it made so much sense to me. And even though at the time of recording I'm still in Alaska, by the time this is released I'll be in hopefully in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, where I'm on my second job. But I made the trip out here to Alaska, and I don't regret it, but it was I had to change the temperature of my life. And I it sounds like it's in the same vein for you. It's like I gotta pivot, and I gotta find out what truly matters to me. So what truly matters to you? What are the things that don't matter as much that you thought mattered before you came here?
Before coming here, I definitely something I think I've always struggled with, even now I'll admit, but definitely much more before, was like other people's perceptions of me. So even my parents, for example, like I was living with my dad back in California, who I didn't grow up with, but it's always, I think that has always kind of played like a role in my life. Like, oh, what does this person think of me? What does my dad think of me? This is my dad. You know, I don't really know him, but I'd love for him to think highly of me, right? And so being over there, a lot of the decisions I was making felt kind of like, and even though it wasn't directly asking for it, it felt like I was kind of trying to appease him or please him in a way, you know? And when that wasn't working out, and the things that I was doing to make him proud or whatever weren't, you know, working out in the way I wanted, I kind of realized, you know, coming out here, like, oh man, I gotta do stuff for myself. But another reason that I think it was so hard back then was that expectation, you know, the trying to meet expectations, as well as I was still being supported by him. So it was I felt a lot more, I guess, obliged to try to sort of appease this person, you know. And coming out here, I feel like I'm doing stuff for myself a lot more. I'm doing stuff, taking care of myself, so that I can, you know, do stuff for me, and without, you know, without expending someone else's time or energy. If that makes sense.
I understand. Yeah. Expecting someone else. Yeah. I get you. So, what's a piece of advice you give to the people listening at home? Live life. Don't look back. Sometimes the past, you know, weighs us down a lot, but live life and don't let whatever in the past weigh you down, you know, from living life. Live, laugh, love. Live, laugh, love? Yes. So we're going into the Hallmark store now and getting some of the decor Live, Laugh, Love for $15.99. That's the time we're at right now, yeah. Okay. Damn straight. Seb, thank you for joining me on this, man. I appreciate you for having me. I've always, you know, from the moment I got here that evening, you know, that anxiety was definitely here. But I met you and I saw, like, okay, someone gets where I'm at. I'm at the right place right now. Everyone here kind of, I've noticed in their own way, is kind of searching for the same thing. And I don't know, that kind of brings me more peace to know, okay, I think I'm going the right way. Everyone's kind of with me on this, you know. Man, are we with him?
We're with him.
Are we here again?
Audience has to give Seb some support here. He's not alone with this. Even me, even though I'm leaving, it's like, hey, yeah. We all ball. Exactly. No, yeah, bro. Meeting you, I was definitely moved. I was very, very much inspired as well. So good shit, man. Yeah, man. Cool, man. All right. Well, thank you for joining me on this, man. Thank you for having me on this. I love this. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the audience. Good night, my friends. Good night. And be sure to ball. See you in the next one.